What's up? Are we here? Can you hear me? Are we good? Bringing the music back a little bit. Hi everyone, what's up? Oh, it's playing the bug right now behind us. What's up everyone? Thanks for joining the stream. Sorry it took me I was hoping that we wouldn't do Joe 30. We did Joe 12 today. So, yeah. So many Astroneers. Thanks everyone who's watching on Twitch and on YouTube. Hi, my name is Joe if you've never seen me before. I'm the comms director at the studio. I do all the things, you know, that stuff, all the community stuff. Yeah, just wanted to do a little live stream. Today's not gonna be a really long live stream. We're basically just gonna be doing a Q&A with Adam. Gonna try not to leak too much stuff today. We're just gonna, we're gonna just talk about what you just saw, or maybe you haven't seen it yet and you should go watch it. The new game we're announcing, Starseeker. I'm so excited for it. We've been working on this for a little while now. We'll get into that in a little bit with Adam. But just wanted to say hi, and yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, let me give you the rundown. We announced a new video game, a new one that we've been working on for, I don't know, since 2013 or something like that. It was announced in the Switch 2 Direct yesterday. Please go give that. And if you didn't see it, sorry. That just is what it is. It didn't play for some people in NA. I can't wait for Wholesome Hill Divers. Nice. So yeah, we announced that you can wishlist it now. You should please go do that on Steam. Also on PlayStation as of today, there is a store page, so you can totally go wishlist it. You should also go and check out our link that we have on our website, starseekergame.com. There's a link at the bottom. It's a little box. Click on there, and you can sign up for the beta to get into the beta. We'll give you details about beta and when that's going to come out later. But yeah, just sign up for that. That will actually bring you into our Discord, and there'll be some Discord channels specifically for talking about Starseeker. And if you haven't done that, you should go do it. There's lots of people talking about what they've seen in the trailer and asking questions, and we're answering some of them. Also, got the fresh merch on, ready to go. Okay, cool. I think Adam's waiting in the wings, so I'm just gonna bring Adam in. I'll just start asking questions. We'll just start doing it. Let me turn down the music a little bit. Hi, Karto. What's up? Also, hi, everyone. Hi, everyone in chat. How are you all doing? It was not 2013. Did I say 2013? 2023. We have not been working on this since 2013. Hi, Gene. What's up? Signed up on Discord? Amazing. We'll get to your questions in a little bit, but let me pull Adam in. I think Adam's still here. Hopefully everything's still working. I see Adam's face. We can't hear him yet. One sec. Let me... Okay, this is looking good. This is looking good. Nice. Adam, you look beautiful. I am gonna bring Adam in now. Hello, Adam. Are you here?
Hey, buddy.
Yes.
How's my mic? Good.
You're here.
Mic's
Can
good.
everyone hear Adam? Someone confirm, please. We hear both of you.
Hey,
nice.
I'm here.
Oh,
Drinking my water.
We freaking did it.
We did it.
Wow.
Look
okay.
At Look at us.
Yeah. Anyway, and everything looks good. Shout out to Spencer for putting together some new graphics. You like the new look? We have to change some stuff over to System Era now because now we have 2 games, Adam. We aren't just Astroneer game now. We got 2 of those. People are saying long time no see.
Oh yeah. Hi, everybody.
What's up? What's up?
I've been busy.
Yes, Adam's been very busy while we've been holding it down on the Astroneer side. Oh, Nick's here. Hi, Nick on YouTube. I see you. I seen you. Adam, you want to give him? Yeah. So if you're watching, we're on YouTube and also Twitch. Feel free to chat in either. I can see the chat in both. We will get to the Q&A section at the end where we just answer questions in chat. So prepare yourself for those. We're gonna do a bit more of a formal Q&A now, so that way we can, get all the marketing stuff out, so then we can have some fun later. Adam, you want to give the spiel? Do you have it unlocked yet? Can I just can you just hit him with the Starseeker is,
I'm so good at it right now.
Do it. Yeah. He's dialed in.
Yeah, listen, Starseeker, it's definitely the next game from System Era. It is the next game within the Astroneer universe. And in so many ways, it is us really going after goals that we have as a company, as a studio, and certainly that I have as a creative director of building not just really dope sandbox games with cool themes. In this case with the Astroneer franchise, it's all about being space explorers with your friends on planets. But we really, and this is what you're going to see in Starseeker, we really want to make experiences that connect all of its players together, and that you're engaged together. And how many games are we playing right now out there where you're standing face to face with people? Starseeker is a game about standing shoulder to shoulder with people. When I sat with Brendan at breakfast years ago, by the way, you said 2013 and I died a little. That hurt my heart because it's been long. It hasn't been that long. But when I sit with Brendan, I was like, hey, I want to build a game that feels massively connected, not massively online. We're not making an MMO, but I want to make an experience where everybody's on the same team. And so Starseeker is you and many, many people. We'll say how many people I think in the future. But you and many, many people are crew aboard the ESS Starseeker, this state-of-the-art space station on a journey of discovery, in a game that is all about going on cooperative expeditions with your friends and the friends that you're making on the space station. And also a game that's trying to build camaraderie amongst its people. I like this idea that Joe, you and I are on the same team together, and your accomplishment is helping me out in some way, and really kind of having that sense of teamwork and cooperation and camaraderie. And for me personally, it's a game that I have wanted to play for quite literally years, and extremely lucky to get to now make it.
Okay, you did good. You did good with the spiel. There were a couple things that you actually called out in your thing that we can now talk about. So it is an online game. That's a question that's come up quite a bit in the last couple of days. Yeah. Can you just talk a little bit about that? Like, I mean, don't go into crazy detail, but it is a game that is focused on online, and I know people have been asking you, like, can I play offline, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's two things that I think people should know. One, it is an online game. You do need to have an internet connection to play this game. But it is a game that you can play by yourself. You can log in and join the Starseeker. And while there will be many, many people, many other Astroneers walking around, you can still embark on an expedition by yourself. And there's a chance you come across other Astroneers that are doing their thing on a planet while you're down there. But you can totally go on solo expeditions and just do your thing while you're down there, and log in on your own. But I think you're going to notice that this game can't help but make some friends for you in the way that we connect players and show the progress and things that everybody's going through. And so, yes, it is. It just by the nature of the game, it requires an online connection. And we are focused on multiplayer, but I'm one of the players that likes to just late at night log in by myself and do a couple of runs. And so we need to be able to support players that want to play on their own as well, for sure.
Yeah, cool. So without getting into too much detail, you mentioned like runs and like going down, and there's a question about just like, what does that look like? What are you doing? Are you going back and forth between the station? What is the station like? Is that like, we mentioned in our text that it's the hub, it is sort of the heart of the game, but can you just talk about like those two places?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the ESS Starseeker is the star of the show. It's in many ways, it's the main character, and we happen to be its crew as the Astroneers. And to us, an expedition represents missions that we are doing on the planets that we are in orbit of, in circulation of, in service of the Starseeker and the objectives that it has as a space station that is state of the art, and travels from star system to star system to explore and discover new things. That I think is really compelling, and we aren't ready yet to like fully reveal the gameplay behind the expeditions. We're saving that for the summer because, of course, we're game developers and we have to lead you on and not reveal the whole thing right now. But listen, it's an Astroneer game, right? And it's a System Era game. And if you look at what Astroneer did for, in my humble opinion, what it did for the base building survival genre with Astroneer, we are doing with what we are defining as the genre as being expeditions, in a game that is, and Joe, don't kill me, I think I can say this right, it's PvE. It's PvE only, like we can say that. We're not a competitive game. Astroneers don't like shoot each other. That's not what they're about. We are about standing shoulder to shoulder and being on the same team. And so it's a game that's all about embarking on those expeditions and how do you plan and pack for them and what are you bringing down, and not that we're defining these two holistically, because we at Systemair we love agency over player experience, but what role do you want to play? What do you want to do while you're down there, and how do you accomplish those goals?
Yes, cool. We should just get some logistical, like easy stuff out of the way. We plan on having it on all console platforms. Obviously, we announced during the Switch 2 showcase yesterday. We already have store pages up for Sony. You can wishlist there. We're going to be on Xbox. We'll have more details about like all of those things. But yes, we are on all those platforms.
Yeah, I think if you go to the website, we actually list all the platforms right there for you.
Yeah, totally. How long has it been in development? There was a small team. I mean, you can cover this in more detail, but there was a small team in like 2020, I think. That was like the prototype squad, and then it became like more of a full thing in 2023. Yeah. And then you were working on it a little bit before then, like you were thinking about it and considering it.
I was working on it. I mean, I started thinking about it just before the pandemic, and like full-time thinking about it just before the pandemic. And it was myself and another engineer, Evelyn, in 2020 that, the thing I'm passionate about, it's not just sandboxes, it's consistent systemic sandboxes, right? Like it's in the name of the company. I really fully believe that. Truly systemic sandboxes are just so much fun for evoking player agency and wondering, what are the rules that I can exploit and how can I be a silly goose inside of this space. And so we dove head on into like a whole run of R&D about what makes sandboxes fun. Are physical simulations fun? Is completely gamified physics fun? What does that look like? How do we adapt that to our voxel system, which, as you've seen in the teaser that we put out, it's got a complete overhaul. There is a glow up across the board if you're used to the planetary experience from Astroneer, certainly in STARSEEKER. And so we just spent a lot of time on there. And then really, I think the team hit its stride around end of 22 to early 2023, where we brought on a lot of folks that were working on Astroneer to help out. And now we are supporting Astroneer with a team that's the same size that the Astroneer team has always been, I believe. And everybody else is working on STARSEEKER with us.
So actually, I'll correct you there. The team went down to a pretty small team, and now it actually got a little bigger.
Yeah, actually, you know more about that.
Yeah. So, in my domain on that side, yeah, we were a pretty small squad. Like I can say this now. The squad that shipped like glitch walkers was like pretty tiny actually. And now we've gone back up. So now there's a team that we're working with that we're super excited about to help us produce content. And I mentioned in like the Steam announcement yesterday. So what we've been doing on Astroneer every year is going like, maybe this is the last year of Astroneer. Maybe next year is the last year of Astroneer, and it just like won't die. Y'all are so supportive of the game and excited to see new content, and so we just decided this year to just commit to knowing that we're going to have multiple years of development as we go forward. So if anyone who's worried about STARSEEKER taking all of our time, we have a team working on Astroneer. They're planning for multiple years. And yeah, the rest of the team will be working on STARSEEKER as we go forward. I will hide the carrot. But yeah, I've been having to hide this in calls because it's not supposed to be a thing that people see, but now people can see it. Shout outs to Larry for making such an awesome thing. Okay, cool. So I think that covers sort of the high level stuff. I'm writing down questions at the end to hit. One of the things that I actually want to pull forward, because a lot of people have been asking, because it's kind of an identity thing for Astro and also maybe for STARSEEKER, and then the deliberate decision that we made, which is deformation. Is deformation in STARSEEKER? Is deformation part of this game?
Yeah, it's a primary part of this game. By default, everybody can interact with terrain in a way that feels very much familiar to Astroneer for sure. I think one of the differences with STARSEEKER is there's a much more of an action focus inside of this game, in terms of we don't want to just have one way of deforming terrain, but we are exploring many ways that terrain can be deformed, but also just ways in which terrain is dynamic. One of the first things that Brennan focused on was introducing dynamic voxels, because we knew we wanted things like water to come through the world. And sure enough, the first thing, when I remember very vividly when he showed me water working on the planets, the first thing I did at his desk was swim underneath it and poke a hole in the bottom to watch the water come through. I'm a diehard Minecraft player, so of course I'm going to play around with it in that way. And it was just nice to see. And so, wanting to build a sandbox, wanting to introduce more ways to interact with terrain. We're on all the prime consoles right now, so making sure it feels great from a controller, really prioritizing that. Whereas if folks don't know, Astroneer started with Steam in mind, so we had a mouse and keyboard approach to that. And so with STARSEEKER, we're taking a controller first approach, and so we're just making sure that it's all really fun to pick up a controller, have those moments with it, and then to offer more ways of interacting with terrain than just the terrain tool. And then making sure that the terrain itself is dope, right? Like it's not just sand like what you're used to from Astroneer.
Yeah, cool. And I think that's where there was that's sort of a little leak right there, and you were mentioning it about water. People saw water in the video, and they were like, "Oh, is it static? Is it just like a thing that's just there? Is it like we choose a line on the planet and everything below that is water?" The water will flow. The water will change. You can manipulate it. And in fact, actually, we had to do that for this video because the place where we decided to shoot in had a waterfall in front of that cave, and it was just like in the way of the shot. And so we basically had to just model the terrain in the background in order to make the water appear next to it. So that's
I think Nick was putting in like voxel volumes to like curt the flow of the water a different way to get it out of the shot there. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to. There's so many questions that keep coming up, and I want to answer all of them, but I know that we're not supposed to, so I'm just gonna breeze over them. I'm noting some ones that we are gonna cover later. So let's talk about just like production in general and like where we're at right now, because we did announce yesterday that the game is shipping in 2026. Where are we in development? Like where are we currently?
Right now, STARSEEKER's in production. We are all cylinders are fired. Everybody and anybody that can contribute to STARSEEKER is right now, and it's pre-alpha. It's a pre-alpha state. Unlike Astroneer, we are not going to release it in the pre-alpha state. We are going to keep it in the oven. Keep it in the oven as long as we can. Good Lord, I hope we don't do that again. But no, it's full production, and everybody's involved, and we are playtesting it. As a group, we're playtesting it every week. As individuals working on different initiatives, we playtest within those meetings, and it's full swing right now.
Yeah, cool. I wanted to call out that we are in pre-alpha. It is a designation that like a lot of old school Astroneer players think about and go, "Oh, I spent my best hours in Astroneer in pre-alpha." That is not what we're doing this time. We're not releasing it during pre-alpha. We want to push this thing all the way to a nice polished release that we're really stoked about.
You know what we are doing though?
Yeah.
You know what we are doing though? Joe, we're doing a beta.
We are.
If you go to starseekergame.com right now, you'll get the instructions on where you can look to get involved in the beta. We'd love to have you come through.
Yes, please do that.
It's not out right now. Beta's not live. It's coming up, but we are trying to get our audience to come through to make sure that y'all can help us kick the tires on this thing.
Yeah, because this is an online game, we definitely want to do lots of testing, lots of little tests. We might pull certain players in just to like try test stuff out with us. So definitely sign up for it, and that'll also be the primary way that we share information about production and where we're at. That's not just like super high level. So there'll be times where I just like share cool stuff with people that are in that group. Because they're interested in trying out stuff. Okay, cool. Already signed up. Let's go. Nice. Seeing lots of people saying that they want to get in for the beta. That's great. Okay, so we talked a little bit about like some of the specifics about what's different about Astroneer versus STARSEEKER. But, at a high level, there are some big things that we show in this trailer. We show the water stuff. We show dangerous fauna and like creatures. And that's like a new thing that's been requested for a bunch. Like, just talk to me about like what is different, and then maybe just touch a little bit on like STARSEEKER versus Astroneer. Like, is it a continuation? Is it a sequel? Like, go into that. Some people know the answer, but I want to just say it out loud.
Yeah, I'll say it out loud. This is not Astroneer 2. This is not another, base building survival sandbox game. I don't know how else to say it. We are action science heroes aboard a dope-ass space station that is state-of-the-art, that is sending its crew down for various missions that you're taking from the STARSEEKER. in trying to continue the mission as its crew. And so we try to jam pack, and it's weird, right? We try to jam pack as much of that action into the teaser that we could, but I was just in a playtest yesterday where I'm like, we barely touched the surface of what we showed folks. I almost said what that playtest was. I almost leaked it. I got to be careful. It was just awesome, and it was like I had a big smile on my face, and it was really, really dope. And like none of that stuff that I played yesterday was in the trailer. So there's so much more that we're exploring here, right? And whether it's like what have we showed, right? Like swimming, scanning. Like scanning is such a if you know, scanning was an Astroneer, right? We walk up to a thing, you press the button down, it goes bloop, 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 and you scan it. This is a different kind of scan. It's a lot more. It's skill based. It's a lot more interactive. You saw some of that happening in the trailer. The Starseeker is a shared social space. It is a space to engage with other Astroneers, to team up, to make friends, to see how y'all are helping each other out. Some folks picked up on the climbing. I saw like one video where they were like dissecting the climbing that's there, because like I said, it's not just about the terrain tool this time around, right? It's of course there's a terrain tool interaction with the world, but so many other ways to interact with voxels as well, like climbing. You know, we want to give players choices of how they interact with this stuff. And by the way, you don't just climb on terrain. I'll just say that there's more things to climb on. Gliding, we have that in the trailer. You Gene and Spencer did that whole run where you jump off the top of the cliff and you bring the gliders out and you swoop around, and the way that, like, making sure I don't do the thing, the way that gliding interacts with the other systems in the game is one of my favorite things to play with right now, and unfortunately I can't say more, but it's really, really cool. We already talked about water, right? Like, so there's clearly water in there that you can swim through, but the water is dynamic. It flows. You can, without swearing, you can FAFO, right? Like you can have fun with the water and interact with it in different ways to actually complete objectives as well. I think you're getting a hint of it in some of the screenshots that we've shared, and certainly in the teaser. But the worlds are way more lush. From the toppest of levels for Starseeker, there is a glow up that is applied to this, so that if you're coming back to see a new Astroneer game, whether it's the worlds, the creatures, the item designs, the exodynamics aesthetic that we've applied to all those Astroneer things from the Astroneer program, all of that's getting a glow up. And so it's, I don't know. I remember when I did that pitch years ago, Joe, and I had like that evolution board of like, here's Astroneer and here's Starseeker, and like freaking everything was an evolution from Astroneer. So how is the gameplay different? In many, many ways, but you're still Astroneers, right? Like you're still going down there to do science. You're still going down there to discover. You're working together. You're interacting with terrain. You're exploring spherical planets with caverns, and now water and other systems in there. Biomes that are cranked up. Our biomes are true biomes now. They include creatures like we saw, and yeah, it's just going to be. I don't know. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you don't tell me to stop talking, I will keep talking because I am excited. So maybe we just jump to the next question.
No, this is great. This is great. I think the thing we want to talk about was deformation, and then also what's different. I think we'll get into this more. There are certain things that are not in this game or not a focus of this game, and I think that's also sort of important to talk about at this point. I don't think we need to get into like specific features, but whereas Astroneer is you living and existing in one solar system, and like that is like a save, and like that is still Astroneer, and that's I think why we made the distinction to not say this is Astroneer 2, because that would be a new game that we might make that is focused on the same mechanics or similar mechanics to Astroneer, whereas this game is more focused on this cooperative exploration, the Starseeker thing. So I think I want to just call that out, that is. And for people who really want that, I'm excited to do another one of these streams to talk about what we're planning on doing for Astroneer's future content. And I think without releasing too much about that, we're definitely doubling down on content that is Astroneer only. We're saying like, hey, Starseeker is a game for this kind of player and for this kind of thing, and it is online. It's a multiplayer game. You can play it single player, but it does have lots of people in it. But we can still keep adding things to Astroneer and getting people excited, and like, if there's something that you really want that's not in Starseeker, it's still in Astroneer, and it still might be getting updated. So I'm really excited that we are continuing to develop for it, because I think we can kind of have both going, where if you love Astroneer, that game is still doing its thing, and then we have this new kind of gameplay. So we'll
Yeah,
just
and
call that out.
you and I were in a meeting. Was it last week? Hearing about the plans for Astroneer, and it's dope. It's so
Yeah.
exciting. And like you said, these are games that they cast different nets. They serve different audiences, but they also both speak to fans of the Astroneer program, the Astroneer worlds, our brand of science fiction, what we're trying to do with it. Like these are games for all fans of Astroneer. But they're two different games, which is
Yeah.
also why we call it Starseeker. It's not Astroneer 2, it's not Astroneer this, it's a brand new thing.
Yes, exactly. We did see creatures. There are other creatures that we're not even show. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff there. We did show a few of them in this video, and I was really excited to have them in there. I'm excited to also see how, I feel like a lot of games. Actually, let me not even go there. All I'll say is I like that we are thinking about our creatures also as like a system and not just like a thing. The reason why we didn't do this for Astroneer for a long time is because we didn't want to just add, like, I use this analogy all the time, like space cows that you shoot to like get their meat or whatever. And I think like the way creatures interact with the game, I'm super excited about. It's really fun. Yeah. Um, okay. The trailer. So we did show the trailer yesterday. I wanted to call this out because I think it's important. Um, that was in engine. That was in the game. Like that was,
Yeah.
this was not like some CGI thing that we did. That was all like us using and the engine that we're using. Oh, you should cover that as well. So just talk to the people about that.
Yeah, so we are in Unreal Engine 5. But just like we did with Astroneer, we almost immediately bifurcated away from the Unreal Engine 5 dev releases so that we can integrate our voxel technology inside of it and to really kind of take that engine to where it needs to be for our game. And so we have full control over what we're doing there. So it's not just like factory out of the box Unreal 5. It's System Air's own take on that to support the kind of games that we want to make. I don't believe Unreal Engine 5 supports like spherical gravity and spherical worlds, and certainly not the voxel technology that we're using and that we've built. And so it's our own. It's our own take on that. And then that trailer was from the game. It was content from the game. It's a planet from the game. It's suits and backpacks and tools and creatures and biomes from the game, animations from the game, abilities from the game. I freaking the area that it's in with the waterfall that we're talking about. I go by there all the time when we're running around. I see it all the time. And I'm like, oh, there's the teaser area. It is for the most part as close to what we're doing in the game as possible. Now, of course, there's things that we do, if not to get too techy, but there's things that we do through what's called Sequencer, which is where we can do some keystroking of where characters are, because we're building a trailer after all. But no, a lot of it is us running around, recording what we see, and then touching it up when we need to. Because for lack of a better term, I have no interest in BSing our audience, and so it's really important that we are as true to the game as possible.
Yes. Yeah. We basically, I mean, myself, Gene, and some other people, and like Kat went around and we basically did location scouting like you would do for a video shoot. We just like went around, found a spot that really worked for the idea that we had, and like that was it. Like we made some modifications to, like we mentioned, like diverting some water or putting up a certain plant here or whatever. But that's just the game. That's an area in the game that just exists. And I was really excited that we got to do that rather than like make some huge customs thing. I think, and the other thing to mention is that, like, the representation of like lots of different players, that wasn't like, I wish we could have done a trailer where every individual in there was like being controlled by someone. We do have stuff playtests like that where that is kind of what's happening, but we animated all those. That was just like us representing. I mean, if you want to be the guy who stands in the corner of the station and just does dabs all day as people walk by, you can just do that. And like, you can just be that guy. You can change your name on Xbox to be dabbing for life and then just do that all the time, and people will walk by and notice you. And like, I think there's some really fun experiences that I can imagine happening in a place like the station where people are just chilling and hanging out and like relaxing. It's a third person game that I'll just call out because it did come up multiple times in questions. It's a third person game. What other questions? Okay, we covered Unreal 5. Sorry, I'm going through my list. When are we going to hear more? Okay, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think we already kind of mentioned that This isn't a gameplay reveal. This is the game reveal. So this is technically like just a teaser. We kind of, in the way that we operate, of course, we did way more than like, we went really in to like do this teaser to maximize the amount of time that we had in the showcase. But yeah, this is technically just a teaser, and then we'll get into more actual detailed gameplay stuff and show gameplay video and explain the whole gameplay loop sometime later this year. Uh, okay, I think that covers all the things I had in my list. I'm just gonna scroll through and make sure that I'm not missing anything big, and then we will start asking questions. Someone asked this question, and I'm just gonna call it out. We're not gonna have its own Starseeker Discord. We're keeping the Discord as is, and we're actually just gonna turn it into the system era Discord eventually, and it'll have all of our games, thinking forward. Yeah, I don't want to control two different Discords. That sounds terrible. That sounds really, yeah. Okay, cool. Now we can answer questions. I'm gonna answer this question that comes up because I have to do the marketing thing on this. But people keep asking about crossplay. We have nothing to announce about it, at this time. But everyone wants it. People keep asking about it. But we're not saying anything because, yeah. I'll add to that. Partially, the reason why we can't say anything or wouldn't say anything now is because it's not just up to us. Like, we could wish for that all day, but there are platform restrictions. There are people who have their own rules and things like that. So, a thing we will come back to later. Start throwing your questions. Start throwing your questions in the chat, and I'll start plucking things that I think are appropriate. Please.
Joe, there was a great question, and I'll ask you if you want to talk about this question.
Okay.
Our procedurality in the planets.
Oh yeah, we can.
Yeah, so I can talk about that if you want.
No, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so unlike Astroneer, and I don't actually know how many folks know this, but every time you run Astroneer and you hit play from Steam or you launch it on your console, it actually generates a new version of Silva and Calidor and all those planets for yourself. They are procedurally generated, just for you. And then, of course, when you start your save game on there, it locks in those seeds, and those are your seeds. This time around, where we use procedurality is actually in the development side of the planet creations. And so the dev team, the artists, the level designers, gameplay, and expedition designers, things like that. We use procedurality to get a lot of the heavy lifting done because our worlds are, I will say that they're a little larger than Astroneer's planets, and so we use procedurality to get some of that heavy lifting done. But because this is such an experience about fostering community and camaraderie, one of the pillars for our game focuses on mastery, and we want players to be able to jump down to our planets, and they have names. I'm just not ready to reveal them yet. And master those planets so that when you and your friends are down there walking around, you can be like, oh, I know exactly where we are. This is the teaser waterfall, and if we just head left from here, I can get us to the cave entrance that we're all looking for. And it's about learning and having that intimate experience with those planets over time, so that should we turn the page on our players, or should something happen in the narrative, or should something come up in a quest in an expedition that you're doing, that you as players can understand those worlds and embark on them. And so this time around, the planets are not procedurally generated like every time you embark on an expedition, but we certainly use procedurality in the generation of them on our end when we're crafting them. So we're, relatively speaking, we are a small team for a game like this, and so we have to use every tool in the toolbox that we have, and procedurality is a big one that we are professionals at.
Yes, I will. So to say that in a different way, and the way we talk about this internally, that's very exciting, is like, a thing that is designed by an art person is there, and it's there for everyone, and it's a thing that everyone can see and visit, and understanding where that is part of the fun of the game, of being like, we all have a shared language about this area on the map. We all have and I mentioned this earlier, like with the trailer thing, right? That cave exists, and maybe the community comes up with a name for that, or maybe they see it. Maybe that cave's going to be there in the, when we actually get the game out the door, and they'll be like, this is the trailer cave. Like we can totally have moments like that, and anyone can visit it and stand there and have fun in it, which I think is really cool. So yeah, that is a good question to cover. I want to cover this. I saw you in the chat. Hi, Bunny. Good to see you.
Oh,
Bunny
thank you.
asked. Bunny asked about keyboard and mouse support. So we are. You can answer this. Give the answer. But yeah,
Yeah,
just want to
I
call out.
run. If my controller's off, I run around with mouse and keyboard when I'm playing. For sure, we're going to support it. Yeah, we're not trying to alienate audiences, and the preferred way in which you want to play. But it's just that this time around, we are just taking more of a controller first focus on how you interact with the game, so that when we bring it to and when it's on the consoles that we've listed, it is built for those experiences. Whereas Astroneer, we had to kind of like retroly react to that and bring change our settings there.
Yeah, in my brain, it feels easier to make sure that keyboard and mouse reflects what we want on controller versus the other way around. And I think that's the way we're thinking about it this time, which is just like, hey, we don't want it to be an afterthought. We want it to be a primary thought while we're thinking about how the game controls. So, okay, this is a good question to answer. Is this a premium game? Is this a free to play game? What's up?
I'm gonna let you answer that one. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say.
Okay, all right. We're not answering that question.
No, I will answer it. If you're gonna say Adam, you can answer it. I'll answer it.
We should wait for confirmation from someone else. I thought this was a foregone conclusion, but I want to make sure that that's actually a foregone conclusion. I'm gonna wait for someone like Veronica to.
No.
Yeah.
No, whatever. I'll say it's a premium game. We're not a free to play game. Like I'm not trying to make a game that's influenced by what free to play is. I have no interest in that business model, how that feels. I almost swore. I'm trying to be really good about not swearing on the stream today. I'm just very passionate about this, where I think that there is so much influence that happens to game design with free to play models that I've got no interest in that. And so, and also, like I said, we're a small team. We are punching above our weight. If we go and do that, I think that we're going to make decisions that have a negative effect on the game. And what I'd rather do is build an experience that, you are buying it because this seems like a game that you want to get into. And then once you're in there and playing it, how you experience it is not, there's not squeeze points. And like when you launch the game, like, when you play like a mobile game that's free to play, and like the first thing you're shown is like how to give us money. It's I almost swore again. F all of that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be influenced by that. And I feel gross. I feel gross when those sorts of things come up, because it just, especially at System Era, I've got no interest in going that hard at it, especially when a game launches like this. Like I think that it's really important that we design the game that we want to design without major impact from its business model in a way that has such crappy long-term effects on how it feels to load that game up. I want it to feel good to load up System Era games.
Great. Okay, cool. We answered it. We just did it. I'm glad we did, because it's an important question.
Listen, it's so important to me. I'll make the call. I'll make the executive call there. That we'll just say that. We'll just say that now, because it is such a thing. I just came out of a conversation about it yesterday. Like it's so important that we as a dev team, we understand what that does for our games, and we be passionate about it. And we have a chip on our shoulder about it.
Yes. Cool. I'm trying to think of other internal questions that I might have missed. I think we covered mostly everything. Continue asking your questions in chat. I have about 2 or 3 more. I know we have limited time today, Adam, because we're trying to. It's been kind of a long week, and I have to get back to marketing things. But we'll give it a couple.
My wife is making tacos upstairs. I could smell.
Nice. It's dinner time. Oh, I'll answer this question. The names of these fine creatures. You want to do it? You want to answer it, Adam? We said it already, but just say it out loud for the people.
Yeah, those are carrotlings.
Little
and
carrotlings.
You find them on one of the planets that you'll get to play when the game drops.
Yes.
I could say so much more about them. those little carrotlings. No, they're awesome. They're awesome. I think actually one of the first creatures that we took all the way through. They've been around for a minute. Years ago we had something like that was around, and they have been around for a hot minute, and they're some of our favorites. And on our where we chat, we have emojis that are all based around them that we share all the time, and they've already kind of seeped their way into our culture at the company, so we're big fans.
Yes. Cool. Will there be new lore? Absolutely. I'll just answer that question. Of course. That is
yeah.
we don't want to get into too much detail there, but there is a story, there is a thing there's a through line to everything that we're doing. We're not just randomly going around, and we're super
Yeah,
excited.
we'll have more of that come the summertime to really kind of pull the curtain back on, the narrative tone and the theming of it all, and what it looks like, what that's going to feel like to actually launch this game. I think that we're having a lot of fun in that space too. But now we're just being like, hey, we're making a game about being a crew aboard a, what's the word I say? State of the art space station. And hopefully it becomes apparent over time that, for me personally, I'm a big Trekkie, and so it's not, I don't believe it's what we're calling it, but Adam calls it the Promenade, that little space, because I wear my DS9 inspirations and references on my sleeve, and I can't help but call it that. I don't know what we'll end up calling it, or what we're calling it right now, but I just can't help myself, so I think about that all the time.
And this is not necessarily directly related to us, but I think it's actually kind of interesting. When you think about inspirations for a game like Starseeker, is there anything you like that absolutely jumps out at you? It doesn't have to be games. It could be other things. You just mentioned like Star Trek, but I'm happy to hear if there's like some games.
I'm gonna say Star Trek again. Optimistic futurism is a thing that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm, like, Joe, I stood in front of the team, in front of the company a few months ago, and I said one of the goals that I have with Starseeker is to pay forward all the feelings that I got as a young person watching Star Trek, and what that did for me for painting a picture of what the future could be and what it could feel like. And so, with Starseeker, with themes of cooperation and collaboration and community, I really hope to show people what it can actually feel like to work with other folks to accomplish goals in a way that can give meaning to, I'm gesturing to the world right now when I say that. And so, it's kind of my love letter to that feeling, or our love letter to that feeling, and trying to chase that and foster that amongst all those who play. And as a game that's going to come out, and we have a plan to support it for a very long time, we will learn new ways of establishing that and exploring that and revealing that to you, and hopefully, just like we did with Astroneer, hearing so many stories from our players of how that had an effect on them and what that meant to them. Games wise, I can certainly drop some names that we talk about a lot, but we cherry pick the things that we are influenced from these games. And so if I were to mention, for example, Sea of Thieves, it's not because of any one particular, it's not because we're just trying to do Sea of Thieves, but in space. Sea of Thieves is a lot about working with friends. You have shared goals together. We talk about the calamity that can come from that. How do people communicate in a game like that? How do you, in our case, we call them expeditions, right? Or missions. So how do you share a mission in a game like that? Do we want to be influenced by that? In a lot of ways, we talk about, of course, and we've already seen people mentioning Helldivers. We of course, we're looking at Helldivers. That is a PvE game where players make friends and they embark on things together. And so, it's not that there's one game where we're like, oh, we're just going to do this, but we're going to make it Astroneer. It's never been about that. It's always been about chasing what we have as goals as a company with our sandboxes, and certainly with what we want to do with Astroneer. But it's all these sort of influences that we see that people are trying, and what they're doing out there, and where are they succeeding and where are they failing, that I think we talk about all of the time.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's like, what did I say? Sea of Thieves, Helldivers. Those are the two that, like, we've especially Sea of Thieves, Liz, our design director, and I, we've been playing that one for a hot minute, and we're certainly the feeling of cooperation. Now, of course, Sea of Thieves is PvEVP, right? And so we're not that. So that's why that's not a fair comparison. We also don't do mission structuring the same way, but it's more the what are they doing to get players to work together, and what does it feel like when you and your crew aboard your ship, your galleon, complete something? And why is it that people launch fireworks when they're done doing a voyage and in celebration? Like, what is it that's happening in that moment? We just kind of talk about those sorts of things, and is there anything in there that we can put in a bottle and deliver to our players, and kind of think about that.
Yeah, someone said if there's a nerd in chat who said if there's a promenade, then we need a Quarks bar.
Yeah, we do. We need a Quarks bar.
I'll answer a couple questions that came up that are pretty easy. I don't think we're gonna release the Astroneer soundtrack on vinyl, at least in the same way. That was a partnership with Fangamer, so that's a very specific thing. Maybe we would do it separately somehow. But no plans for that. We are doing snail plushes. We're doing other snails. I can't show you those yet, but snails are a thing that we are going to turn into more plushies for people. And someone asked about carrotling plushes. If that's a thing that people want, if people get excited about carrotlings, which I certainly am, then of course that seems like a no-brainer. But no actual plans for that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we got everything. I think we
I mean,
covered.
there's a lot of questions here, but like I said, we're game developers. We can't just bury the lead right now. We have so much more to show.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're gearing up for later this year to pull the curtain back even further, reveal even more, hopefully answer some of these questions that are coming through. But
I think, sorry, to be clear about the vinyl thing, I think we could release the vinyl at some point, but we did a partnership with Fangamer, so like even that art is like it's a partnership with them. Might do that, but it would not be the same version of it. I know a lot of people ask for it, and then we probably should. We can't answer a lot of these questions. Oh my god, I'm seeing so many good ones. People are asking about narrative.
I've seen Astroneer 711 ask a lot about the Wanderer a lot. That character is near and dear to me for a lot of reasons, but because it's a game that exists in the Astroneer universe and it's part of the Astroneer lore, and it's a game that, like I said, we want to continue to support, indefinitely if we can. Look how long Astroneer's gone. It would make a lot of sense to me that characters that exist from not just Astroneer itself, but from things like the graphic novel, that they come around. And so I think that, are we planning for any in particular characters? That's one thing you'll just have to kind of wait and find out. But it would be crazy to me if we don't see some familiar faces come through in certainly in Starseeker over time, because why not?
Yes.
And it's not a game that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's not a game that exists on an island, right? And I don't mean that because there's islands on that's not a pun about Starseeker. What I mean by that is, like, it doesn't exist in and of itself, right? Like, it is still part of. It is the next Astroneer game. It is not a continuation of Astroneer, but it is existing in that universe. And so it makes sense that some of these characters that are familiar show up and appear,
Yes.
And just like you've seen in the game already, there's actually some familiar suits that you can choose, right? And so it's already kind of starting in that way.
Yeah, so to be very specific, because actually we didn't cover this earlier, and we're covering it now. These games exist in the same universe. They are focused on different ideas, obviously. Like, we're not doing the reason why it's not Astroneer 2 is because we're not directly continuing a specific storyline or something like that. But the narrative themes, some ideas, they still exist in this area. And so that's exciting. And that means that, yeah, there are moments where we could call back to certain things or explore ideas that we didn't get to explore because they didn't make sense for a game like Astroneer. So yeah, that's very, very exciting. I'm super stoked.
Can somebody at System tell Gene we are in fact making a game? He's asked a couple of times now. I think that he's wondering if we're making Gene from work. He's like, "Are we?"
Oh yeah, Gene's like, "What games? Is that what we do here?"
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I want to answer all these questions. All right, let's stop. We're at 3. We're at 3. We've been doing it for, I don't know, an hour-ish or so. So let's call it. I think that's it for now. Let's do a quick recap. Starseeker, available to wishlist now. Please go do that on PlayStation and on Steam. It is a brand new game from us, not a DLC, not an update, a brand new separate premium game that exists within the Astroneer universe. It is coming in 2026. We will share more details about gameplay and whatnot in the future. We'll give you some specific details, and we'll make a big thing about it. We're gonna share some things, piecemeal, but we're gonna have a big gameplay reveal, and I'm super stoked about that. If you want to get into things like betas, which we're going to be doing at some point, you should go and do that via the link on starseekergame.com. There's a little button down there that says sign up for more news. Just click that, and then it'll take you through the flow. That will also just get you to our Discord immediately. So you can sign up to join our Discord via that. We have new social handles. I'll put them. Maybe I'll get Lotus to put them in chat. But we got a new Blue Sky. We got a Twitter, an X account. We have a new IG. So go follow us on all those platforms. We're still the same place on YouTube. And now that's the
New
System
channel,
Error account.
new channels in the Discord
Yes, new
as
channels in
well.
the Discord. So if you want to catch up, there's a lot of conversations happening. People finding all of the carrotlings in the background of the video, all sorts of fun stuff like that. That's all happening in a new channel in a new space on Discord. But we're still at the same Discord. I did make a new subreddit that is the Starseeker Reddit. I don't think most people haven't found it yet, but it does exist. And I am the sole moderator currently. But we'll get some other people in there. I think that's mostly it. And then we answered a bunch of questions about specific stuff about the game, and you can dive into those. And we'll make a VOD out of this video, and I'll timestamp everything to answer questions. But we're really excited to be announcing this new thing. Oh, and I guess one big thing to mention for people, because this is also a shared Astroneer space. Astroneer development will continue. We're going to have multiple updates for it. That's going to continue on. So if there's things that made you sad today that we decided are not going to be in Starseeker, that's because it's going to remain in Astroneer, and I'll have more details for everyone about that coming up soon, about just like what we're developing. And we have started on a pretty large update, and we're in the pre-production phase there, and we have some really 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 cool ideas I'm so excited about. So that's the spiel. That's everything. StarSeekerGame.com. Go wishlist it on Steam. Bit.ly/ I'm not going to get that link wrong. It'll be in the chat. Lotus posted all the social links in chat. Blue Sky, Instagram, X/Twitter. Please, is that a Mandalorian behind me? Yes, it's 2 Mandalorians actually. I love Mandalorians. That's it. Any final words for the people, Adam? Before you eat your tacos?
I mean, honestly, this is cheesy, and I feel like this is what every developer says. But truly, thank you. Like, I think that the fact that we've got y'all in the chat right now asking us questions, and there's so many familiar faces, to be here and to have the opportunity to talk about our next game at System Era is incredibly special. And in a lot of ways, it can be, depending on who you speak to, it's rarefied air. And so we feel fortunately lucky to be able to be here to do this. And I truly mean that. When we started System Era, we never thought we'd be in a space to be able to talk about the second game, because we just have to make sure the first one kicks in. And so many of you have been there on that journey with us, and of course I can see so many of you still looking forward to stuff for Astroneer, and that's still super important to us. But we are also now taking big swings and doing it with a chip on our shoulder, with what it means to have a game that feels good to play it as a player, and to do it in a way that we can sustain ourselves as developers and not burn ourselves into the ground or blow up to thousands of people. I almost swore there. I think I might have. And I just feel very fortunate for that. And so truly, for myself and everybody at System Era, thank you. And I can't wait to tell you all more. It's going to be so cool.
I love when Adam drops a hard F-bomb and then goes, oh, I just swore.
I'm sorry. I really tried. Put a dollar in the cup and I'll pay it later. It's fine.
Yeah, okay, cool. That is it for this live stream, everyone. I'm going to run the trailer one more time at the end. I am really excited to share all these details. Also, just excited to be able to talk about it now. You know how hard it's been to work on another game and then not tell people what everyone's doing? Now we can start doing that. So, yeah, look forward to that too, like details, and I want to share some cool carrotling like concept stuff in a couple weeks, and just we're going to get back into that too. So that's the reason why we're sharing all this social stuff, is that we actually have things to talk about now. We're not keeping more than half the studio's work under wraps. We can start sharing things, and I'm really excited for that too. So,
yeah.
Okay, that's it.
I'm so pumped.
I'm so excited.
Bye,
Thanks,
y'all.
everyone. Have a great weekend.